Good morning. I think we are at the crossroads, and my presentation is going to be nearly totally different from the mainstream of presentations made yesterday and all the last probably 15 or 20 years. Most of the mainstream of presentations and evaluations are aimed at the improvement and mitigation of the problem of climate change, and actually it's talking about leaving the carbon as the main source of energy. And I think if we look at the counter, it's amazingly disturbing. That's how much carbon right now is injected into the atmosphere. And all the measures that have been taken, I don't know if it will slow down that counter. At the same time, there is another counter for oxygen that is going downwards. It's going down. So we're facing a dilemma. Now we're going to talk about in the desert, probably we'll find safety. As Dr. Saif mentioned, that in the deserts you will find many solutions throughout the history. And I think it's time that we find safety in the desert by completely eliminating carbon. The verdict is in. Carbon is no good, no longer. It's been a great vehicle to deliver us throughout the 200 years, 250 years to this place. And I think humanity has made a giant leap to become the way they are. It's never happened before. But that vehicle is smoking a lot, and it's just getting very old, and it's a transitional phase, and it has to be put away. And we should make an eternal vehicle of energy that would have a different, completely different DNA. The DNA has to be remapped of energy and to move from mechanical into electrical. So here I have a sensitive mouse here. This is the region we're talking about, and I will go into details. This is a huge, great reservoir of energy, and that is desert heat can be converted into winds that would blow 24 hours a day at constant speed, and they're controlled winds. What we want to do here is to create local low-pressure climates that will, in this huge high climate, as you can see here, it never clouds, and it never rains, and therefore it's because it's a high pressure region, you can create low pressure regions easily, artificial low pressure regions, by taking the global warming from heaven down to the ground and make it to work for the benefit of us. And that will make giant greenhouse plants that will pick up the heat, and the heat will rise. That's a scientific fact. Heat rises, and then it will find the air will move and will look for an exit and it will go to the chimney. While it's going, we'll go into details on that. It will increase speed, and then it will hit turbines and generate electricity. And now the electricity will be transmitted to the world through many gateways, like from here to Spain, here to Italy, from Tunisia, from Libya to Italy, and to Greece, and then from this area. And by the way, this is all interconnected, and the world now nearly is interconnected by land grids, and there will be a lot of development into making super grids and land cables and marine cables like this one would be going to the Americas. From Guinea, it's about 2,000 kilometers. The Americas will get redundant energy. For example, from here it will go to Iceland, and then Greenland, and then through to Canada. Or it will go, and it will go also from Russia to Alaska, and then to the Americas, and also to Australia and Japan and that region. But let's talk about just added information about carbon dioxide, and this is Kyoto. In 1995, the G8 plus 3 developed countries, that's India, China, and Brazil, decided, when looking at this curve, decided that it's about time to talk about lowering the carbon dioxide emissions. And we have Kyoto here in 1997, and now we have Copenhagen here. And, well, Kyoto did a lot of change, actually. The curve kept rising. And therefore, and I don't know what's going to happen in Copenhagen. I have no idea how they would pull that curve down. In the late 70s, I poked a hole into the wall of the present, into the vast and distant future, and I saw catastrophe was in the making. And I thought that that's going to be, we'll have probably 30 to 50 years. By that time, people will do something about it, and the catastrophe will be diverted. Now it's banging on our thin wall, and the wall may give in any time. And I'll show in my slides that there is testimonies from key figures of the United Nations and other bodies that are all agreeing that a drastic, urgent, quick measure must be taken in order to divert that catastrophe. I'm doing research work, and probably I'll be done within 2 years, on calculating when that doomsday will be in. And it will happen because of carbon dioxide that will reach a critical mass. That's a threshold where it thickens and falls down to the ground surface and cause mass suffocations. And that will be lowlands first, and then it will rise to higher altitudes. And the other one is the depletion of oxygen. The oxygen right now, we're depleting oxygen so badly. For example, if you look at the counter, that's 1,000 tons per second of carbon dioxide. If you take, for example, 12 tons of carbon, that's 12 tons of oil or 12 tons of coal, and you burn it, you will take in, that you will strip 32 tons of oxygen from the atmosphere, and nature will return only about 29% of that, which is about 9 tons. And so we have about 20 to 22 deficit of oxygen. How long is that going to go before the air becomes thin? Like when you go to higher altitudes, you find that the air thins and becomes, it doesn't support life any longer. Also, that is a scenario. And I don't think we have all the time, the privilege of the time that we have to wait and do the targets for 2100, 2150. I think the time is precious and of essence.